Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Today I get to work on an older reel. This is a Ryobi B1 rear drag fishing reel sent in by a channel viewer, Gary. Gary asked me if I could reassemble the bail for him. He gave me the pieces and parts, but I guess may have been struggling with how to do that. So I'll do that in addition to servicing the reel. I have had a question in the past about servicing a rear drag fishing reel, so we'll show you the basics behind that. It's all comes together anyway because I like to work with the bail, the rotor off when I service a bail. So we're going to start by taking off the exterior pieces and parts. As I do, I want to encourage you, like Gary, to subscribe to my channel. If you do subscribe to my channel, please use the notification button. That'll let you know when I'm posting videos. I work on all kinds of fishing reel services. This one's a freshwater rear drag fishing reel. Tomorrow might be an ocean trolling reel. We never know. You're kind of looking over my shoulder in my shop as reels come in and as I get to do the service and repair on them. Well, I started by taking that handle off. When I did, I put that into a parts tray. I used that for my organization of pieces and parts, and you'll see Gary did provide me all of the bail pieces and parts as well. I'm going to remove the spool next. That's a push down spool. And then in order to get the axle shaft off to remove the rotor, I need to remove the side plate. When I'm doing that, I like to encourage you to take pictures as you disassemble the reel. Those pictures will help you to identify the orientation and the manner in which you took those parts off, so that you can maintain that sequence kind of in reverse when you go to put that back together again. There's 3 case screws holding this reel on. I'm putting them into my parts tray in a separate corner, and I'm making sure that those 3 pieces or screws are all the same. Before I go any further, I want to take this screw out of the cup as well. I'm not sure if that cup needs to be removed in order to remove the side plate, but if it does, I want to get it out of the way. Okay. The 3 screws are off. We should be able to remove the side plate, and you'll see in this reel that we have a crosswind arm and a pin that makes the oscillation happen. So we'll take that arm off, and now underneath that pin, we got something here. We got a click mechanism here. That little click mechanism belongs on that little post for the cap. We'll just put that aside. And we have a double clip here that's going to hold the axle shaft in place. I'm not sure if we can just simply remove this main gear or not. We'll give it a try. Some of these pull out. This one did. And that makes it easier to take this hold down clip and axle shaft out. There is it's an odd one, 2 odd ones. I'll go for my flat one. There's a clip here that's holding that axle shaft on. You need to flip it up and then pull it off. There's 2 grooves that it rides in on that axle. That's kind of interesting. That one has that doesn't come off, it comes up. Okay, there we go. So this has got a round oval clip kind of a thing that you have to work through. Get that off. Now we can take the axle shaft out. This is the screw that ties down that piece. Gonna wipe that down. The reel is clean. Just do a little bit of cleaning on the old grease here. And let's go ahead and get that axle rotor nut off. That's a 12mm nut. We'll take that off next. To remove the rotor. And now that makes it easy for me to do the install of that bail spring. Let's take a look quickly at what we have here. We have a washer assembly with the tie down for the anti-reverse. We have a click ratchet, a washer, two washers, and a bearing assembly. So let's take the bearing assembly off next. I wasn't sure if we had a bearing or a bushing. We'll just keep that in order so we know how to put it back. There's no sense just repairing a bail wire. If you're going to take everything off to get there, you might as well go ahead and remove the balance of the pieces here. I'm going to leave these on my desk. I'll pull that up because we do have the bearing in there. And we do want to make sure that this gets cleaned. Well, all of the greases and the like have evaporated. We're going to oil that bearing. We'll take some fishing reel grease. And we will grease the pinion gear that goes along with that assembly. This is where pictures help. There was a lot of things that came off there. I take pictures. I'm using my video camera for that purpose. But I always recommend that you take the pictures just in case you get a little bit confused there. And it happens all the time. Right, I want to make sure that I am seating that bearing into the case. Now that bearing needs to seat flush. I think we got it now. There we go. Bearing's in. That pinion gear probably slides out from underneath too. Next up, we want to just reinstall the tie down. And if that pinion gear comes out, just let it come out. Take the two screws for the tie down. Okay, grab your screws to tighten it down. Oh, lost the pinion gear. That's okay. Don't panic. Again, a good reason why those pictures are helpful. One of the things you would have seen in the pictures is that there's an upside and a downside to that clamp that ties it on there. Okay. Bearing is tied down. I'll take that in. Pinion gear, put that back in. And we know we have that small washer, a spacer, the click ratchet. There's two sides to that click ratchet. Make sure that you have the one that is going to intersect with the hook on the anti-reverse dog. And then we have the little ring. With that assembly reset, let's go over and pay attention to this bail, which is what we were asked to do to begin with. We're going to remove the side plate hold. Take my pieces, put these in here so that I don't lose them. There's a metal shield here. Okay, I've been struggling for a little bit. There is a spring that was loose below in this. It has a hook that goes on the bottom end of this tag and the rest of it sits on the upper end of that elbow. When you put that into the case, that spring will keep this along the side here, and then when it goes to trip, it's going to move it, but it will swing it back when it becomes inactive. Wow, that was a little bit of a thought exercise there. The next thing up then is the clip that holds the upper end of that in place. There's a little channel for that. And you notice I took my glove off because, well, the glove was getting in the way of me doing what needed to be done here. Okay, so the last question then is, how does this spring go on? To me, that's what this other cavity is here. Should hold it like that. The engineering of it says it belongs that way. I haven't worked on one of these, but you'll notice it has a 90-degree that falls down. With that in place then, what we want to do is get the hole on the back of that arm, set that into position, bring the push down, and seat the assembly over the hole so that you can put the bail screw on. I guess I will find that bail screw right now. This looks like it's the right one. And tighten that down. We'll give it a test. We'll make sure that that's what you should be doing now. So when I swing this, you're in the off position now, cranking your trip levers over inside so it doesn't bump the piece. Now when all of this pulls down, if those springs are set correctly, this arm should come out. There we go. The arm is out. The trip lever is going to come around now. It's going to hit that and flip everything back up. I think we got that. Gary, that was quite a mind puzzle there. All right, let's see if we can sneak this under. Looks like we can. And I just want to find the little screw that was holding that in place. Wow. All right, we'll show you the rest of the bail, and then we'll just go ahead and finish the service on this reel as well. Rather simple reel, but rather interesting bail combination. I haven't seen one of those spring-driven pieces like that. All right, next up then, we'll just gets bolted onto the side. So line that piece up with this. Go ahead and get the other. Now, I don't know which screw is which here, so I'll take a moment here and make sure that we have the right one for the right. I'm thinking this is the bail screw. Okay, that seems right for the bail screw. We're going to take the side of the bail, put that onto the rotor here. This should just simply tie down here, and there's nothing going on. It's just a dead end part of the bail. Swing arm is going to come over to this side. We should have the line roller next. And then we want the other screw. It'll go through your bail arm. There's a metal washer that goes next. There's an indent on the one side that faces the line roller. And bring the line roller up now. I should be able to tighten this down. And this should be doing it. This should be your bail now. You can notice how that comes out. and as it brushes back, it will fire. Okay, wow. All right, we have our bushing next. We'll just continue to just put this back together. We can take this rotor now and put that on to the reel so that we keep everything kind of assembled and out of the way. There was the rotor nut. Let's go get that. Well, if you have a question on this reel or any reel, maybe you're wondering, is Ryobi the same one that makes the garden tools and hand tools today? The answer is yes. And if you're wondering why you don't see Ryobi in the U.S. any longer, well, they sold the U.S. distribution to Berkley. Berkley is now part of Pure Fishing. They're the same one that makes the Berkley Gulp and the like. And I think that sale was in the 1990s. Ryobi still has an international fishing reel brand. You'll see Silver Cloud and you'll see some other Ryobis out there, some bait casters. But in the U.S. it basically ended in the early 1990s. All right, we cleaned the grease out of this. I'm going to go ahead, take that axle shaft. Now that we have the rotor installed, wipe the axle shaft down. Thin coat of grease. I know I'm going to have to play with this one a little bit here. We have that funky little clip here. And this is one of these things that's kind of odd. When you go to load, it needs to stay in. It's got a wide side, but then as you pull it out to attach the screw, you don't have that long side. There's two sides of the stud that moves. Don't lose the pin. I'm going to come through the top here. I'll set that up. If you're not seeing it, I kind of apologize here. Okay, we've got that locked in. Once you come through and seat that crosswind block, add the pin, pull this lever out. That's going to hold that tight. And then we can put this screw that's going to hold that in place back into the block. Okay. So that's how you install the axle shaft. You can put a little bit of grease, a little more grease onto that axle shaft now that it's exposed and through the pinion gear. Next up, take the gear. I've cleaned it. I've put some grease on there. We have the bushing that goes in the back case. Make sure that that gets properly seated. Just going to use a screwdriver to make sure that it stays flush and is in place. Take that greased up gear and merge that with your pinion gear. And we need our arm to go on next. Find the pin for your crosswind and make sure that you're nice and flush there. Once you've set that arm on, but before you close up the case, you have that little noisemaker for your rear drag. So what you want to do is get this, and it installs over that pin on the side case like that. Now we can put the side case on. And when you install the side case, make sure that it is flush all the way around and that it goes on without a lot of tension. Alright, take the screws and let's get the 3 screws in. They're equal size and threaded screws so they can go in any position. Let's go ahead and do that. And if you have any questions on this reel or any reel, I may have stated it before, but I want to reinforce it. Just leave the questions in the comment section below that will get answered. I try to answer those in the mornings, most mornings, and I will try to help you either with additional information, or perhaps you have a real problem that you're working on that I can help solve. Take the cap and just slide that back up. That cap has to merge with the nut here, so it may take a little bit of turning to get it correct and seated properly. Let me go ahead and put the nut on, or screw, to hold the cap in place. We're getting close to testing, seeing if this was all worth it. Put our spool back on. Next up is the handle. I probably should go back and check my film now because I'm not quite sure if this was set for left or right. I'll check it in a little bit. Usually I'm pretty good about noticing that I didn't pay attention here. Alright, give it a spin. Spins nicely. Let's check that bail now. There you go, we've got a firing bail again. So Gary, your reel's ready to go fishing again one more time. Alright, so hopefully we've all learned a little bit about this one. Very unique bail spring setup. It's the first time I've seen it. We were able to kind of logic it out and make sure that we got this thing set up right so that, well, I can go fishing again. Well, I hope you've enjoyed that. This one's been a little bit of a journey, and I kind of enjoyed seeing how it works and some of the unique engineering behind the Ryobi B1. To our first responders and essential personnel, thank you for everything it is that you do to keep us safe. I do appreciate all of your efforts. To everyone, please stay safe, stay well, stay watching, and have a great day. This is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle.